Hello, my dear friends. I think that when October 7th occurred, most of us thought that even though anti-Semitism was rampant, but there would be a, a pause in the anti-Semitism, and there would be support, general support for the Jewish people in the state of Israel. And we thought even the United Nations, which was has always been an anti-Semitic organization, would be supportive. Lo and behold, to our great dismay and our surprise, we probably should not have been surprised, the exact opposite happened. Not only was there no support, but Israel was made to be the villain. Israel was not the victim; they were the perpetrator. Israel was accused of abusing the population in Gaza and imprisoning them because they wouldn't allow the people in Gaza to travel freely into the state of Israel. They were enforcing their borders, and therefore the Hamas was not a terrorist organization. They were freedom fighters. They were resistance against the state of Israel for their crimes that they were committing against the people in Gaza. And everything was turned topsy-turvy. And amazingly, you had people demonstrating in support of Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization. They tell you they're a terrorist organization. They commit crimes against humanity and against the Jewish people. Why would anybody want to support Hamas? And it's mind-boggling. But they've whitewashed Hamas. Hamas became like angels. And the state of Israel, they're the ones that are committing the crimes. Israel attacked Hamas, and they came under such heavy criticism because of the collateral damage, and people in Gaza are being hurt and harmed. You can't run a war without having collateral damage. It's impossible. Every war has collateral damage, and Israel was waging the most moral and just war. They warned the people in Gaza to leave, to evacuate, so they shouldn't get hurt. And Israel was attempting to feed the people in Gaza. Why was it Israel's responsibility to feed them? It's in the middle of a war, but Israel was trying to feed them, and Hamas was stealing the aid, and because of that, the aid wasn't going to the people, but the world ganged up on Israel. It's Israel's fault. They're starving the people in Gaza, and then comes along the International Court of Justice, which should be renamed the International Court of Injustice or the International Court of Evil Corruption, and they paskin that Israel is guilty of genocide. Genocide, it's such a horrific thing to call Israel guilty of genocide. Is the word that's used in conjunction with the Holocaust. The Jewish people suffered so much in the Holocaust, but it's like the cynical use of that word by anti-Semites to say you're always saying that you suffer genocide. No, it's just the opposite. The Jews are not the ones that suffer genocide. You're the perpetrators of genocide. And it's just incredible that they were able to use that word to describe Israel's defending itself and they're trying to secure the release of the hostages, and instead they're accused of committing genocide. And it's like everything is topsy-turvy. It's like an Alice in Wonderland type of reality. Everything is just the exact opposite. Imagine after the Holocaust, if people, except for the Holocaust deniers, but everybody that knew that there was a Holocaust, nobody accused the Jewish people of perpetrating the Holocaust. They were the victims. But imagine if somebody would have said, the genocide of the Holocaust, it's your fault. You're the ones that did it. That would be too idiotic to say. But when it came to October 7th, that's exactly what was. It was just so irrational and illogical to accuse the Jewish people of being the criminals and the ones that are perpetrating this. And committing genocide, and the mayor of New York City, the mayor-elect, he says he's gonna arrest Prime Minister Netanyahu if he comes to America because he's a war criminal. It's just, these things are just mind-boggling what's taking place, and it's like almost impossible to understand. Hamas, they're such evil people. They're demonstrating for human rights and women's rights and sexual rights. And how in the world do these same people that on college campuses where they're so worried about causes and morality? How could they support Hamas, which is, they're obviously the most evil people in the world today? So there's a pasuk in this week's parsha that leapt, I think it's leapt is the right tense, leapt out to as I was reading the parsha. You know, in the Kahalos it says, "Ein kol chodesh tachas hashemesh." There's nothing new under the sun. Everything that's happening today happened years ago as well. In the Chumash, we see the same type of Alice in Wonderland fantasy type of thinking that was displayed by that was being displayed today. You find the same thing, mamish, the same thing in the Chumash. The Yaakov disguised himself as Eisav, and he went to Yitzchak, and he pretended he was Eisav, and Yitzchak gave him the brachos. When Eisav found out, Eisav was enraged, and he said he's going to murder Yaakov. And he said, "Vayakveni zeh pamayim." Yaakov's name is Yaakov, means it comes from the word heel, akev, but it also could mean deceit or outsmarting. So he says, Yaakov outsmarted me twice. Vayakveni zeh pamayim. Es berachasi lakach. He took my bracha, my blessing. I'm sorry. As bechorasi lakach, he took my birthright. Hine ato lakach berachasi, and now he took my blessing as well. So he did with guile. He stole two things from me: my bechora, my birthright, and my blessing. So I was troubled. What in the world is Eisav talking about? Eisav sold the birthright to Yaakov. Yaakov didn't steal it. Yeah, it was fair and square. Yaakov was making soup, and Eisav was hungry, so lentil soup, and Eisav said, "Give me the soup," and Yaakov said, "I'll give it to you, but you give me your birthright in place instead." And Eisav agreed by his own volition. So what does it mean? Es berachasi laka, that he took my as bechorasi laka, he took my birthright. And the bracha goes with the birthright. So if he's the bechor, so he's entitled to the bracha of the bechor. So what was Eisav's complaint against? What was his beef against Yaakov, to the extent that he's so angry that he says he's going to murder Yaakov? So I saw the Klei Yakar, who's one of the classical commentators, asked this very question: Lama Amar Shalachach Ha'chara be'akeva? Why did Eisav say that Yaakov took the bracha with deceit? V'lo machalo miratzon tov. He sold it to him with his own free volition. V'im Eisav b'sheit nafshel bizas b'chara. After Eisav sold the birthright, he denigrated, he made fun of it. He said it's worthless. Ma pesha Yaakov is. So what did Yaakov do wrong? Yaakov bought something that Eisav himself said was worthless. So why is Eisav angry at Yaakov? So the Klei Yakar has a long explanation. I'll tell you what I think is the answer. And the answer is that when a person is filled with hatred, and especially anti-Semitic hatred, then logic is totally irrelevant. There is no logic. It's like, again, like I said, it's like Alice in Wonderland. There's no right and there's no wrong. There's nothing. You could conjure up whatever you want if it be based on which direction the hatred is taking you. And because Eisav hated Yaakov, so therefore he was able to make those absurd statements that he stole the bracha, and he stole the bechara, and he stole the bracha from me as well. It's incredible that the Jewish people live with so much anti-Semitism. And again, you look at the Chumash. The Chumash, you have four major anti-Semites in the Chumash. First, you have Eisav, who wanted to murder Yaakov. Then you have Lavan, the Yaakov's father-in-law. Even though it's not clear from the Chumash, but in the Haggadah it says, "Arame Oved Avi." My father was almost destroyed by the Arami. Arami is Lavan Harami. Lavan came from Aram. So Lavan wanted to destroy my father. When he chased after Yaakov, after Yaakov worked for Lavan for many years, and Lavan tried to catch him. So the Rashi explains that Lavan really wanted to murder Yaakov together with his children, but the angel came and told him, don't do that to Yaakov. So, but Lavan's intent was really to murder Yaakov. So that's the second. You have Eisav, you have Lavan, then you have Amalek, who came to attack the Jewish people as they were leaving Mitzrayim, and then you have Bilam, who was a prophet of the nations, and he wanted to curse the Jewish people out of existence. So I was wondering, Why is there so much anti-Semitism? Why do the Jewish people have to live with all this anti-Semitism, with the nefarious designs that they have in order to destroy the Jewish people? So I think two thoughts. First of all, because in order to survive, the Jew has to have tremendous bitachon, and the anti-Semitism that Klal is so subjected to forces them to deal with life with a sense of emunah and bitachon. There is no other way, because rationally there's no way to survive. There's so many assaults against the Jewish people in every generation, and they have survived through their emunah. And secondly, it's because the attacks of the anti-Semites are so irrational and so devoid of any truth and emes that it's a great challenge to go to the opposite extreme, to be able to live one's life with values and with truth and with honesty. And that's the nisayon that Klal Yisrael faces every single day, not to be influenced by the world around us where there is no reality and there's no such thing as truth, and you can do whatever you want. The Jewish people are living with a tremendous sense of emunah, number one, number two, of emes, that they're committed to doing the right thing. And the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted us to have to struggle with emes, because the reward is commensurate to the effort. And he doesn't give us anything on a silver platter. And that's the destiny of the Jewish people, to fight with Eisav, and to fight with Lavan, and to fight with Amalek, and to fight with Bilam, and to remain honest, even though you're living in countries and in areas where the people are dishonest and the people are devious. Nonetheless, you to maintain one's integrity is a tremendous thing, and that's what the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted Klal Yisrael to accomplish and achieve. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.